Okay, so you have been playing guitar for a little while and you found a song that has a bar chord. Move on, right? No, I would like for this video to change your life forever. I do this full time. I literally am a full-time guitar teacher. I have taught bar chords to hundreds of students just like you, and I would like to help you. I'd like to change your game with 6 simple steps to improve your bar chords, to make it possible, to make it easy. This is literally the best thing compared to a literal blue pill or just a pill I can give you and getting you play bar chords, man. This is it. This is the 6 steps. So here we go. The first step is to obviously improve your grip. I know you're like, well, thanks, man. I already know that. That's why I hate them. They take a lot of strength. Well, that is a part of the game. Now, you can just simply sit here and practice and just really work them. Know that a little bit of pain here and here is an okay thing. If it's a sharp, like crazy pain, maybe take a break and talk to your doctor. I am no doctor. I've not had that issue in all the students I've taught, but yeah, most students do have a little ache right here in their palm and sometimes over here, sometimes even in their fingers. It's okay, that's part of it. Your muscles are building. That's a good hurt, okay? So embrace that. All right, now, and again, you are going to have some crazy kung fu grip whenever you can play bar chords comfortably. I'm not even kidding. Your left hand's going to be really strong. That is if that's your writing hand. All right, so part of it is grip. One thing you can do is simply practice bar chords and just work on that strength. Another thing you can do is you can actually grab, if you're like if you're a child, I recommend for children to crumple up a ball. Practice just doing that to build strength. And if you're an adult, maybe I'd say, I don't know, 10 and above, actually get like a gripper. They actually sell some of these in guitar stores, or you can go to like a gym store and they have those little like grippy workout things. You can do that. I never did any of those things. I just kind of mustered through, kept running into songs that had bar chords and just figured it out, man, and just hated it until I was like, oh, I can play that cool thing. Now I can play the B minor, so now, you know, this song is available to me. And so that was enough for me to make me work for it. Okay, so that's the first one. Grip strength. Just make sure you're gripping and getting a good handle on this thing. It does take the strength. Now, the second thing is thumb position. So some of my students will do things like this. I'm using a basic A, by the way, here with an E shape. That's just my example. It's on the 5th fret. You don't have to, but it's a typically, you know, a good decent place to start. More on that in a second. But if your thumb's out like this, you're not going to have any grip strength. You need a thumb on the back, baby. You need this guy right here. So I'll typically recommend my thumb. Try to get, I don't know if you can see it around the headstock. My thumb and my first finger need to be essentially doing this, making a clamp. That right there is the secret to getting a good amount of strength on the bar. Obviously, this bar is the hardest part of the whole process. I know you can do this, but that bar. So getting your thumb behind it, preferably somewhere like right there aligned with it or even in the center here, that is the way to go. Don't have it out here. I don't want it out here. I don't want it this way. I want to be able to not see it. In fact, if you were looking in the mirror when you're practicing, if you can see your thumb, that usually means you're not doing it right. Now, there's another way to play chords, like the Hendrix style. I've got a video on that if you want to look at it. It's right now up there on the ticker. But don't do that yet until you can play bar chords. So that's your guy. You can't see my thumb, right? That means you're doing a good thing. Okay, so that's number 2. All right, so I know it's still tough. You're like, dude, that's obviously I know some of this stuff. Number 3 is the angle. This is a really interesting little secret. So whenever I play a bar chord, I'm going to do my best to exaggerate kind of what it is a lot of beginners do. Do you see my elbow kind of way out here? I'm chicken wanging. So I kind of come straight in, right? Even doing a lot of strength and my thumb in the right place, if I come at it like this, like straight on, if you can see that, it's not going to help. You can do it, but it's easier if you tuck that elbow in. And so something that I do is I tell my students to pretend there's a line running down the center of their finger here and put that line above the actual bar. That bar is actually the fret, by the way. So put it right there and go ahead and chicken wing it for now. And then I want you to go ahead and just tuck that elbow in and allow your finger to roll into that perfect position of the fret. I don't know if you've had a teacher before, but if you did, he or she should have said, your best place to play a note is right behind that fret, right behind this bar. That's what we're trying to do here. So flatten it out, tuck that elbow into your gut and roll that finger into it, right? And just check it. Try to get all 6 strings, right? And if you got a buzz or a dead note, that's okay. That's a common part of this process. But do your best. And that's the ultimate test right there. So those top 3 are going to be a game changer for you. Now, to add to that, you can actually also lean. I'm doing an A major with an E shape, of course. I'm also leaning these fingers as well. Do you see that? They aren't like flat on like that, which again, it can work, but I find a lot more success with myself and my students when I get a little what I call the mean lean. And that lean, whenever I'm doing it with these fingers, by the way, helps to create room to breathe, so I can hear every individual note, right? Okay? So, that is a huge one, the angle. All right, let's move on to step 4. That is to start in the sweet spot. So, you can obviously tell, I know you're a smart person, this might be a little bit tougher down here for a couple reasons. One is that there is more space in the frets. There's simply bigger frets down here towards the first fret, towards the headstock. So that is going to attribute to more challenge. So I would say to work somewhere up here around the 7th, 5th fret. This is what I call the sweet spot for bar chords. Not only is it because the frets are a little smaller or closer together, but also because the closer I get to this headstock or to the nut here, the harder the strings are to play in general, just because they're actually literally lifted right here. And so there's not a whole lot of slack in the tension on that string here. Now there's a lot more slack. Just do that. Just test that out. See how much harder that is to play down here as compared to here, where it's a little bit more loose, right? So I would say start right around here. Not so high because now the frets are too small, but not so far down here because the frets are not only big, but they're also close to the nut, which makes it harder to play, harder to fret in general. So start around here on an A sharp, or a B chord. It's a great place to start. I'm still doing everything, thumb in the back, lots of grip strength, and I'm also doing a little mean lean, right? And maybe just double check all those notes, right? Cool, got it. If you pass that test, move it on down, one string at a time, and just take your time. And if you're missing a note or something's dead or buzzy, that's okay. I would say to continue playing through it, acknowledging where that note is, doing your best to get that note, maybe even move your finger a little bit to get this knuckle on it. These 2 knuckles, these are some of the extra little, extra bonus tip I guess I wasn't planning on talking about, but that's going to help a lot. If you fret something and you've got that knuckle or that knuckle on top of it, that's going to help a lot with getting your notes on the bar side, that is. That's a great exercise to just go down, but take your time, go slow, one string at a time. Alright, so sweet spot. Let's go and move on to the next one. The 5th step, or the 5th tip, is to detune. So this is in standard tuning, and this is fine, I'm used to this, but that would be really tough for a beginner or someone just starting on bar chords. You're probably not going to have a good time. And so what I'd recommend doing is simply detuning your guitar. Going down to E flat tuning, or even down to D tuning. You're going to notice there's a lot more slack on those strings, and they will therefore be much easier to play. So detune, man. That's going to make everything 10 times easier. Now, for the 6th and final step, what you want to consider, if you're really still struggling, even though you've done all these 5 steps I've just given you, is to actually reach for an electric guitar. An electric guitar is going to be way easier to play, and therefore way easier to play bar chords. Why? Mainly because the string gauge is thinner, okay? In general, you need less girth on these strings for an electric guitar because it's actually amplified by pickups. With an acoustic, it is literally called an acoustic guitar because it uses the natural acoustics of this guitar. The sound waves go in this hole, bounce around, and come back out, and that's how we get our sound from this thing. Which is why, if you're playing like a hollow body electric or semi-hollow, you can actually kind of hear it without the amp, and that's what's happening there. The natural acoustics are attributing to the sound. So anyways, not to go down that path too much, but an electric guitar is a game changer. I've had some students that just struggled so much. I just said, hey, just grab yourself an electric. That will be enough. And that did help a lot in getting their bar chords down. Okay. And then kind of along with that, I wanted to give you like a sub tip along with that, lighter gauge strings. Just having lighter gauge strings in general. So if you're like, Drew, man, I'm not going to go spend another like few $100 on electric guitar. I don't like electric guitar. If that's you, that's okay. Maybe just get some light gauge strings, okay? Maybe get something called 11s or 10s. That's really light for an acoustic guitar. And so maybe think about light gauge strings or custom light or extra lights. That's as light as they get pretty much. And start there and then maybe gradually move your way back up to a medium gauge string. Know that if you have a thinner gauge string, it's not a big deal. They're a little bit floppy, I guess. They're a little easier to play and malleable, so you can actually do some bending. That's for another video, but they'll be easier to play in general. I would typically recommend playing a medium gauge string, though. It just has a little bit more life, a little bit more depth to it. It's a subtle difference, but as you become a better player, you'll notice that yourself. Other than that, that's pretty much it, you guys. Those are the 6 tips that I have for you to improve your bar chords. Please let me know in the comments if this helped you. If it did, that makes my day. Let me know. And then, of course, in the comments below, let me know what you guys want to learn next. I would love to help you out. I've literally done an entire video, researched it, got it perfect just because one person requested it. I enjoy what I do, and I've taught hundreds of songs and hundreds of students these bar chords and every other technique you could probably imagine on a guitar. So let me know what you want to hear in the comments below. Please like this video, please subscribe, and consider becoming a patron. I'm looking to get my equipment upgraded here, get some 4K, some better lights, all this stuff, and that would help me a lot to get there. Thank you guys, I appreciate it. We'll see you in the next video.